This couple took a selfie on a cold winter night. At first, the photo looked completely normal, but after sharing it with family, they were asked something that stopped them cold. Who was behind you in the mist? That's when they noticed it. Faintly visible behind her was a face, pale and unclear, with hollow-looking eyes and a barely visible mouth. According to the couple, no one else was present when the photo was taken. Whatever appeared in the mist hadn't been noticed at the time, and there's still no explanation for who or what was standing behind them. This person was tossing snow into what looked like a small hole in the ground. Suddenly, something went wrong. The snow-covered surface collapsed and disappeared into the hole, just inches from where he was standing. The opening was far wider than expected and dropped straight down. What appeared harmless was actually extremely dangerous. Fortunately, the clip ends with the person stepping back and walking away unharmed. On December 20th, 2017, a child was walking near 153rd Street and Burnham Avenue in Calumet City when something horrifying occurred. Surveillance cameras captured the incident. In the footage, a man can be seen approaching the child before forcing her into a vehicle. The suspect then fled the area within seconds. The Federal Bureau of Investigation released the video and asked the public for help identifying both the suspect and the vehicle involved. Investigators later confirmed that the child was able to escape after several minutes. She survived the incident. Following the public release of the footage, a suspect was identified and later charged in connection with the case. A Reddit user took this photo outside her window one winter night. A year later, she noticed something in the image that she hadn't seen at the time. A person was standing in the middle of the road wearing a bright orange ski mask and looking directly into the camera. It was a cold night, but not cold enough for ski masks, and it was late, with the streets completely empty. The photo was later shared online. Some commenters said it was probably just normal winter clothing. Others found it unsettling because of the empty road, the timing, and the way the figure seems to stare straight at the camera. I agree. This doesn't feel normal at all. One winter, two sisters visited Castle Coch in South Wales. During their explanation, they made their way to the drawbridge room. The room was isolated, with a single small entrance and a narrow staircase outside, wide enough for only one person at a time. They entered the room alone. No one else was present. As they were leaving, they stopped to take a photo together. Nothing seemed unusual at the time, but a few days later, while reviewing the images, they noticed something disturbing. Standing between the sisters was a girl dressed in white. Neither sister recognized her. They were certain no one had been in the room with them, and the narrow staircase made it impossible for someone to enter or leave without being seen. To this day, they have no explanation for who or what appeared between them in that photograph. This TikTok user, C. Bennett Photography LLC, shared a terrifying experience. Late at night, just after going to bed, a mother suddenly heard the back door open. Believing someone had entered the house, she immediately woke her partner, Jonathan. As they rushed to check on things, they noticed something far more alarming. Their child, Emerson, was missing. She had fallen asleep earlier on the couch, and now she was gone. Stepping outside, the mother noticed the truck's lights were on. Inside the vehicle was Emerson. The moment her mother spotted her, the child jumped out and ran towards her. Emerson was brought back inside and quickly fell asleep again. The next morning, when her parents asked her about it, she had no memory of leaving the house. TikTok user Bailey shared a photo taken inside her childhood home, but the story behind it is what makes it unsettling. A few months earlier, Bailey's stepmother experienced something strange. While in the kitchen, she briefly saw an unfamiliar man standing behind Bailey's father. When she looked again, the figure was gone. At the time, she tried to brush it off. Then, on Christmas Eve, Bailey's father took a photo while sitting by the fireplace late at night. Everyone else in the house was asleep. Nothing seemed unusual about the photo at first. But about a month later, while reviewing the Christmas pictures, Bailey's stepmother noticed something that left her shaken. In the image was a figure, one that didn't match anyone who'd been in the house that night. No one could explain who it was or how it ended up in the photo. It left the family wondering whether something unseen had been sharing their home all along. In December 1992, James and Jennifer Stolpa, both just 21 years old, set out on a road trip with their 4-month-old son, Clayton. While traveling through the Sierra Nevada mountains of northwestern Nevada, they made a fatal mistake, turning onto an unplowed back road during a powerful winter storm. Heavy snowfall quickly overwhelmed their vehicle, leaving them completely stuck in deep snow. With no cell service and no way to call for help, the family was stranded in freezing temperatures as their supplies slowly ran out. To survive the cold, they took shelter in a shallow, frozen cave, using what little they had to block the wind. Despite the brutal conditions, Jennifer kept Clayton alive by breastfeeding him, holding him close to her body to keep him warm. As the situation grew more desperate, James made an impossible decision. He left his wife and infant behind and set out alone to find help, attempting a nearly 50-mile walk through deep snow without proper winter gear. After days of walking, James collapsed from exhaustion and frostbite. He was eventually discovered by snowmobilers, barely alive. Rescue teams were immediately sent back to the cave. When they reached Jennifer and Clayton, both Clayton and Jennifer were still alive. All three were rescued. However, the cost was severe. Both James and Jennifer suffered extreme frostbite and later had all of their toes amputated. Against overwhelming odds, a family that should not have survived did. This man was walking across a frozen lake where cars had been parked when he noticed something dangerous.
Oh, that's nice.
A crack had formed in the ice. The weight of the vehicles was forcing water up through the crack, increasing the pressure and making the risk of the ice breaking even greater. The situation was clearly unstable. No follow-up video was ever shared, but hopefully the people nearby were warned in time. A night shift hospital worker and TikTok user Mario Ramsey 0 recorded a video around 3:30 a.m. while on duty. From inside the hospital, she noticed something unusual. Next door, an abandoned building appeared to be on fire. She began filming. The footage clearly shows flames burning inside the structure, but that wasn't the only thing captured. Within the fire, a dark human-shaped figure can briefly be seen. It appears to move within the flames, and then suddenly disappears. Later, the user stated that she had no explanation for what appeared in the video. Whether it was an optical illusion, a trick of the firelight, or something else entirely remains unknown. A person was preparing for a camping trip and took some old sleeping bags to a laundromat to wash them. The bags had been sitting in storage since November. As one of the sleeping bags was opened, something unexpected happened. A snake suddenly fell out onto the floor. Sadly, it was already dead. Later, the snake was identified as a ball python. It was believed to have been a missing pet, likely belonging to a neighbor who had lost it months earlier. In December 2013, what began as a routine drive through the Nevada wilderness nearly turned deadly. A Jeep carrying James Glanton, 34, Christina McEntee, 25, and 4 children between the ages of 3 and 10 left the road and overturned into a deep crevice. The crash happened in a remote area, far from help. Outside, temperatures dropped to minus 21 degrees. The family was completely stranded. Trapped inside the overturned vehicle, they knew stepping out into the open cold could be fatal. So they stayed inside. For nearly 48 hours, the family worked together to survive. They started a small fire using what materials they had. They heated rocks, then placed them inside the tires and vehicle interior to slow heat loss. The Jeep itself became their only shelter against the extreme cold and wind. Despite the freezing temperatures, they conserved energy, stayed close together, and protected the children as best they could. Eventually, rescuers located the wreck. Against the odds, all 6 people were found alive. Even more remarkably, none of them suffered frostbite. In conditions cold enough to kill within minutes, the family's quick thinking, teamwork, and refusal to leave the vehicle made the difference between survival and tragedy. Early one winter morning, this woman went outside to look at the fresh snow when she noticed something unsettling. Leading up to her car were fresh footprints. The tracks stopped right at the door, suggesting that someone had tried to open it during the night. Fortunately, nothing was missing, and there was no visible damage to the vehicle. Still, the footprints were enough to leave her shaken, and wondering who had been there while she slept. Over the weekend, Squamish Search and Rescue responded to several incidents, including a serious Alpine rescue on Sky Pilot Mountain. On Saturday, a climber slipped on a steep snow slope near the summit and fell into a deep gap between the snow and rock on the Stadium Glacier. Rescue teams used technical rope systems and helicopter support to extract the injured person from the alpine terrain. The climber was then transferred to emergency medical services. This footage was shared by the YouTube channel The Hidden Underbelly 2.0. While reviewing a real estate listing from New Jersey, the creator noticed something unusual. The listing included 4 photos taken by a realtor to showcase the home's interior. In the first 3 images, a faint white mist can be seen near a bar stool. The rest of the room appears completely empty. But in the 4th image, something changes. The mist is no longer faint. Instead, it appears to take on the shape of a seated human figure, positioned in the exact same spot. The photos were intended for a public property listing, where rooms are typically photographed empty and without people present. The gradual progression from a faint mist to a defined human-like shape has left many viewers questioning how the figure appeared only in the final frame. No explanation has ever been provided for what the camera may have captured. Warning, this story may be disturbing. In 1996, Mount Everest experienced one of the deadliest climbing seasons in its history. That year, 12 climbers lost their lives during a series of severe storms. One of the climbers caught in the disaster was Beck Weathers, a 50-year-old doctor from Texas. Near the summit, Weathers was overtaken by an intense blizzard. The storm brought extreme cold, high winds, and near zero visibility. At some point, he lost consciousness. Believed to be beyond saving, he was left behind on the mountain, presumed dead. For nearly 18 hours, Beck Weathers remained exposed to the freezing conditions. Then, against all odds, he regained consciousness. Severely frostbitten and nearly blind, he somehow managed to make his way back to camp on his own. He survived, but at a tremendous cost. Weathers suffered extreme hypothermia, serious eye damage, and catastrophic frostbite. His face was badly damaged by the cold, and both of his hands were later amputated. Despite this, he lived. In the years that followed, Beck Weathers went on to become a motivational speaker, sharing one of the most remarkable survival stories ever recorded. A TikTok creator known as Saul Pinto G recently shared a video that caught viewers off guard. While filming a fun family moment around Christmas, he unintentionally captured something strange in the background. For a brief moment, a small dark figure can be seen moving across the frame. The figure appears childlike, but it lacks clear facial features and visible clothing. Some viewers suggested it was simply a normal child affected by low light and motion blur. As the video spread, however, many people dismissed that explanation, saying the movement looked unnatural. What made it more intriguing was the fact that Saul Pinto G's account isn't known for paranormal content at all. Still, on closer inspection, you can briefly see what look like arms moving, which makes a normal explanation far more likely. So while the clip looks unsettling at first glance, it was most likely just a child caught in poor lighting. Now, if you're enjoying my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me creating new stories every week, and it means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. This CCTV clip was recorded in a rural area of London. The footage was shared by Ian Chandler. In the video, a fox can be seen walking along a wooden fence in clear view of the camera. As the fox reaches the fence line, something strange happens. In the very next frame, the fox is no longer visible. There is no jump, no pause. The fence appears completely unchanged before and after the moment. No gaps or damage can be seen. So how did the fox disappear so abruptly? The footage offers no clear explanation. TikTok user Kubo Koi bought a doll at a garage sale for their reselling business. Not long after bringing it home, strange things began to happen. The user claims the activity was so unsettling that they started to believe the doll might be haunted. In the first video, the doll is seen sitting quietly inside a box. But moments later, something changes.
Okay.
The box appears to move on its own, without anyone touching it.
Oh shit.
In later clips, the situation escalates. Kubo Koi is suddenly jolted awake by unexplained noises during the night. As he investigates, he finds the bathroom sink running, even though no one else is present. Then, moments later, something else happens. In another video, he hears noises coming from his bedroom.
Yeah, it's knocking again.
As he begins filming, an eerie event unfolds on camera. Hoping to understand what was going on, Kubo Koi later turns to a Ouija board to investigate further.
It just moved. Alright, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
In the final clip, he captures something he describes as truly terrifying. Kubo Koi believes the doll may be connected to everything that's been happening. It leaves me wondering why anyone would bring something like that into their home in the first place. On May 21st, 2024, climbers reached the south summit of Mount Everest at 8,749 meters during severe congestion in the death zone. Snow conditions were unstable, with soft layers and large cornices lining the summit ridge. After the summit push, a cornice collapsed near the Hillary step while climbers were moving slowly along the fixed rope. 4 climbers were caught in the collapse but survived after managing to self-rescue. 2 climbers went missing and were never recovered. Here's a before and after video. The collapse triggered a major traffic jam, causing many climbers to run dangerously low on oxygen. A new route was eventually cut to restart movement. The descent resumed, and teams returned to lower camps by May 22nd. Last December, this couple had just moved into a new home. One night after they had gone to bed, their Blink camera detected motion in the living room at 12:43 a.m. They didn't see the notification until the next morning. According to the couple, their dog was upstairs with them at the time, and there were no candles, flames, or heat sources left on in the house. They had been living there for about 1 month and had never received a similar alert before. Some viewers suggested that a brief heat source or movement of air could have triggered the camera, but no clear explanation was ever confirmed. Fortunately, nothing else happened afterward. Still, the unexplained alert left the couple wondering what, if anything, had moved through their living room that night. While visiting a cemetery on a winter day, this photo was taken. Snow covered the ground, the paths, and the headstones. There were no people or animals nearby. At first glance, the image seemed completely ordinary, but upon closer inspection, something strange stood out. Between two graves, a small, pale, human-like shape can be seen. The figure appears thin and upright, yet it casts no shadow and doesn't seem to block the background behind it. Cold air and frost can sometimes cause camera artifacts in winter conditions. However, the photo shows no visible distortion. So what did this person capture in the cemetery that day? This footage was captured during a dashcam livestream amid the severe snowstorms that hit Buffalo in late 2022. While watching the feed, a Reddit user noticed something unusual.
Mainland, let go at him.
I'll put it back in on the board.
On the right side of the road, a tall shape could be seen standing completely still. It appeared thin, with long limbs and arms stretched outward. Because of the heavy snowfall and poor image quality, it was difficult to determine whether the figure was moving at all. Some viewers suggested a simple explanation. They believe it may have been a large Halloween skeleton decoration, similar to the oversized displays sold by stores like Home Depot, possibly left outside after the season. Seen through blowing snow and low visibility, the shape looked unsettling, but most likely it was nothing more than a harmless prop distorted by extreme weather conditions. While enjoying a cold winter day at home, this person from the United Kingdom noticed something unusual in the sky and began recording. Two bright objects appeared close to each other. One was clearly the sun, but right beside it, a second bright object remained visible, even as the camera moved. It was far too bright to be the moon, and far too large to be a star. So what was going on? According to astronomer Jim Kaler, the double sun effect is caused by optical refraction, a phenomenon where light bends as it passes through different layers of the atmosphere. However, he noted that this specific effect is extremely rare and not fully understood. Kaler explained that atmospheric mirages usually form near the horizon where the air is denser, and they typically appear above or below the original light source, not beside it, as seen in this video. He suggested that an unusually dense pocket of atmosphere may have drifted in front of the sun, bending its light just enough to create the illusion of a second sun, essentially a sideways mirage. So while the footage looks almost impossible at first glance, the most likely explanation isn't a second sun at all. Mount Shasta is a towering volcanic mountain in Northern California and one of the most prominent peaks in the Cascade Range. Scientifically, it's known as a large stratovolcano that last erupted thousands of years ago and remains an important part of the region's geology and natural beauty. Over the years, however, Mount Shasta has become the focus of countless myths and legends, including some online stories that claim there is a hidden entrance or underground structure linked to non-human intelligence. One of the oldest and most widespread legends holds that the mountain conceals a secret city once inhabited by survivors of the lost continent of Lemuria, a mythical civilization said to live beneath the peak in tunnels or subterranean chambers. Other stories weave in UFO sightings, claims of sky people, interdimensional realms, Bigfoot-like creatures, or reptilian visitors. Legends about Mount Shasta have deep cultural roots and historic origins. The mountain holds spiritual significance for local Native American tribes, and its dramatic presence has inspired folklore for centuries. Now, let's watch this next video for more winter encounters.